Today on Ambition Blueprint, I'm joined by Andrew, a relentless entrepreneur who's mastered the art of overcoming challenges, from defying doubts to managing emotions and building a powerful mindset. Andrew shares how he turned obstacles into stepping stones. His journey is all about grit, growth, and never backing down. Get ready for some serious inspiration. All right, first I'm going to talk about you just posted on Instagram, your addiction. It's tell me how you got over that.
Yeah, it's actually, crazy that post actually got made today, because literally probably from when I was 17 to now, I've struggled with literally all those addictions. I literally, within the last almost 30 days, I stopped vaping, had a big addiction with that, big addiction with smoking weed, just a ton of stuff. Really what had happened and how I went down that path was I started making a lot of money, but the group before I started making a lot of money was just not the right influence. So I just was around a bunch of losers, and I had this big mindset, and I just got addicted to doing these things that these other people were doing in my small town. And there's been so many moments in my life where I've literally hit rock bottom because I've used different things to try to cope with other things. And I started making a lot of money then, and I was like, oh, I want to live this high life. Woman, money, this, drugs, all this stuff that looks all great. And I just got into it. And after so many times of just hitting rock bottom, you're like, bro, when am I going to wake up? And then when you're in a space like this and you're doing really good things out there, pushing really hard and becoming successful, then you can't be doing things behind the scenes and then be a completely different person. So I always had this mask on that I kind of wore, and I was this really great business guy, but behind the scenes, I was coping with other things that I didn't want to face or anything like that. So yeah, I posted that today. Was I'm going to get vulnerable, and I want more people to see my story and who I really am, and that it's possible for anybody to overcome it. So I'm still literally struggling with it every single day, but I'm determined because of the people I'm around. No one else is doing that stuff, and we're all going, we're all high level people. So it's if I want to be a high level people and actually wear the hat and sign up for what I signed up for 3 years ago when I started, it's I can't be doing that. And then do business. So
talk to me about how who you surround yourself with also makes you become the person that you're going to choose to be.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, for me, I wouldn't have ever gotten to where I'm at right now if it wasn't for the people that I surrounded myself with, and that actually it forced me to change. And the times I wasn't changing, I was doing let's just say the workouts, and I was hitting some of these other areas I'd already been good at or done throughout middle school or high school, or just I did sports. So getting around the right people is everything. I mean, for me, I never was doing anything good around the wrong group. I never got anywhere around the wrong group of people. I never got advice. It was funny because when I was learning this stuff and I was around the wrong group of people and still just thinking it was manageable to be okay, I can do this, but then I can also make money. And they were asking me oh, bro, how do you do it? This and that. And when I wanted to quit and I stopped doing some of these things, because I'd quit for periods of times, but I'd fell back into it. And all those other people, mentors, seeing them be successful and having people to look up to that are examples of things that I want, that was everything for me. That was dude, if I saw how they were living their life and the things they were doing daily, and I was dude, if I want to become this level, I need to do these things. And that's what really helped me, was just being around those people. And just seeing what they were doing in their lives, and it gave me inspiration to want to change or be better or be like them.
What advice would you give to somebody who's trying to get into the right group, but they're too scared of hurting someone's feelings?
You got to do, I say this all the freaking time, but you have to do what's best for you. You just have to make a decision. No matter how somebody else might feel or whatever, if you know where you're going to go and have a vision and write down a vision and start creating what that would look like for you, that's the first step, in my opinion, is have a vision, have a game plan of where am I going? What do I want my life to look like? Who are the people I want to have in my life? That's been something that we've been talking about a lot recently. And the advice I would give is just you got to do you. You have to make decisions. You have to do what you think is best for you, because I struggle with that. I was a people pleaser. So I would just bow down and do whatever other people wanted me to do. And it just kept I just kept going through the same hamster wheel of feeling depressed, of feeling sad, of feeling lonely, feeling I had nobody. So advice I would give is just go have the hard conversation. go tell people what you want, go ask for what you want. And like, yes, it is important to like care about somebody else's emotions. But again, if you have that vision and your dreams are so big, it doesn't matter what's in the way. Like you will do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, it's just taking the harder road is going to get you farther than taking the easier road.
And it is lonely and it's hard and it sucks sometimes. And you feel like no one's watching you or seeing you and you're just grinding. But like, dude, I felt those ways when I was on my journey, and like where I'm at now, I wouldn't trade any of those times for, and it's helped build me to like who I am now.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you're going down that alone path, you definitely find yourself. And then I think a lot of people, they decide to fall back into those old habits because they're too scared of being alone. Like they need validation from somebody.
100%. Or like, again, like after so long, it's like you start having these conversations with yourself in your mind, like when you're alone. Because like, dude, there's been so many times I've had conversations with myself when I'm alone and say I'm doing these things, and I'm telling myself like, you got to stop tomorrow. Like tomorrow you got to stop. And I do it again. And I'm like, oh, I got the next day. And then you just keep going through it. Like you have to make a decision. And like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But it's like, I'm already addicted in other things that I'm really good at. I got addicted to making money and getting really good at that. So it's like, I just need to take that time and like that fuel and put it in other areas.
Absolutely.
Where like I'm not bored enough to just want to do those things. Like put my time in areas, because like I already have some sort of drive or addiction on something. So it's like, instead of putting it in a negative way where it's like killing me or like making me die slowly, like put it in areas where I can freaking like change people's lives.
That's good. So you've had to overcome so many challenges. What's your go-to mental strategy when things feel impossible?
Dang, that's a good question, man. Mental strategy. I mean, for me, what I look at and think about a lot is like the trajectory I'm on. So Dakota always talks to me about that. He's like, look at the trajectory on and where you're going with your life, and the things that I'm doing daily or the things I'm feeding my mind daily is like going to keep like getting me where that trajectory is going to go. So for me, I mean, I love music. Music like puts me in a different type of feel, and it puts my mind in like this, I guess, euphoric type of state where like it makes me just dream big, and I'm like, I just want to go freaking like crush everything. So music is something that I go to. Honestly, it's kind of a weird thing, but I go to that a lot. And then the one thing too is like audible books. Like those really just kind of help me to get back to like hearing somebody like that's telling their story, or different, like I'm getting new information about life or different things that I can actually like get better at. So mentally, those are things that I do to kind of like feed my brain, I guess, positive thoughts and like things to actually look forward to.
Is there a certain book that set you up for success that you read?
Yeah. One I read 5 books when I started, but one that really stuck out to me was it was the road, or the millionaire success story, or it was the road to become a million. It was something like that. I forget what it's exactly called, or it's like straight path to real estate. I can't remember, but that book was like, that book helped me a lot because it took me back to my goals. And that was one of my goals, is like become a millionaire. And yeah, that was a book that was really impactful for me.
So you have like 20 plus rental properties right now, and you said you're on the road to becoming a millionaire in your net worth.
Yep.
What's your story look like there? How'd you get started on that?
Yeah. So obviously I've been doing sales for a couple of years now, made a lot amount of money doing sales, and I've been able to take that money and start investing it. So bought my first rental. I already knew like if I wanted to scale my net worth or like help with those things, I need to buy properties. And I was already around people that were buying properties that had already became millionaires through buying rental properties or buying real estate. So I bought my first rental property June, I think it was May or June. And that was my first one. I bought a rental before I bought my house. And then after that, then within like 3 months or 2 months of that, I bought 6 properties from when I bought my first one to like 2-3 months in. And then after that, I got a deal. It was August, I believe, or it was end of the month. And I got that 6 package that I was talking to you about in Decatur, those duplexes, all right beside each other, like purpose built, like couldn't be any better. And so bought those at the beginning of January. And then from there, that really helped me like scale up from what I bought them for, what they appraised for. And like I got good equity there. So that really helped and got my trajectory even closer. And then from there, I just started like getting more sales. I'm like, I need to do more deals. And stack money. So I started doing that even more. And then, I just came across this 5 package in Fort Wayne and bought 2 other single families just within the last month. And then I got this 5 package coming. So then I'll be at 25. So that was, I literally started buying rentals literally last year, and literally next Wednesday, I'll become a millionaire from buying next 5.
Next Wednesday.
Yes, next Wednesday. So I'm super excited. I was hoping it was going to be before the podcast kind of, but it's coming. So I'm grateful.
It'll be posted after Wednesday. So I'll say, join me on this Millionaire.
100%. Yeah, I'm definitely grateful. So that was, it's been really fast. I thought it was going to take a lot longer than this, but I just like put like my prayers and stuff to God, and like, these are my goals. And like, I wrote these things down. And I also like at my house I have like a little whiteboard on my fridge. I literally have dollar signs of $1 million, and I put all day 2024. Then on my posts on Instagram back in February, I put $1 million in dollar signs, all gas, no brakes, 2024. So I was like calling my shots of like, I'm going to hit this, and kind of like giving myself affirmations of like, I didn't want to get it off my mind. I'm like, I wanted to keep that the center of my focus. So I knew like, that's the biggest thing I've ever wanted since I got started when I was 17. So definitely looking forward to it.
I will say something that a lot of people need to start doing is writing down their goals, living up to it every single day, and not going back to their old habits.
100%.
What's a piece of advice that you can give to somebody that's just now starting out?
Advice I would give is start like watching people and learning from people that are already doing it. And that's what I was doing too, is like, I was watching people before I got into it that were already doing it. And that gave me inspiration. So advice I would give is, watch other people that are doing it on a bigger scale, and surround yourself at like the free meetups, or like get in these rooms, network, and like let people know what you're doing. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, you gotta, even if you haven't done your first deal, you need to let people know, hey, I'm interested in starting to get into real estate. I'm looking to get my first deal. Anybody have anything? Like, start like going out there and asking for what you want. And like, it will come back to you. So like books, like podcast, anything that is tailored to the industry you're looking to get into, whether that's real estate or like the self-development journey, like surround yourself with people that are already doing it on a bigger scale or just getting into it, and tell people who you are and what you do and like what you're looking to do. And then that sparks interest in other people. So like, that's advice I always give, is like anything free that you can absorb, watch, get, like, you got to do that. And also too, is like, if I would have knew this back then, advice I would give there is like, do the workouts, like have spirituality, have like the physical down, have the emotional side down, like have those other areas of life, like put some sort of effort into each one of those daily, whether it's a little bit or a lot, like do something to get better, and just compound that, stack it. And dude, you look back a year, 2, 3, and you're like, dang, I worked out 360 days this year.
It's building that confidence.
Yes. And it builds confidence. So like, you have to build confidence at the beginning, because that's what's ultimately going to like give your trajectory of like your success or like the impact that you make, in my opinion.
So I came across a quote a couple of days ago. It kind of reminded me of your story you sent me. It's by Jim Rohn. It goes like, learn to work harder on yourself than you do your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, but if you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. So basically on that is like, explain to me how working harder on yourself is going to set you up for success, and just to work hard on your job. Because everybody's out there like, oh, I work so hard, but they're just working hard on the wrong thing. They're putting their energy to the wrong part.
Yeah. And then when normally after that's done, then they go home and do nothing.
Exactly.
So then it's like, you're not getting anywhere or anything. So like for me, I worked at a factory before this, like I maybe had a total job history of like 3 months before I started doing this. So like, I didn't really have any like experience out there, but all I know that I did when I did do that was like, I do my job, make my money, get out. And then I did nothing. But like, I was learning, that was at the beginning. I was already learning real estate and stuff, but I wasn't in it fully. So like for me, like again, it goes back to like when you're around people that are going to another level, it forces you to have to grow. And when people are already achieving things on a bigger scale, like you have, if you want to be around those people and continue to surround yourself around those people, like you have to keep working on yourself. Doesn't matter if you go in and close $100,000 deal or make the company X amount of money. Like if you're not getting better, that energy is going to come off to other people, and that energy is going to affect other people. And you're just like, everybody's gonna break. So like, I was just so focused on money. And I was like, oh, I'm young. So like, I'll let some of these other areas like slack for a little bit and I'll be good, because I'm just like, I'm so good at getting deals and like, I know how to make money. And then I got to a point where I hit rock bottom and I was like, dang, dude, I don't even know who I am. Like I have all this, but I don't even know like who Andrew Eytcheson actually is. Like, who am I? And that's when, again, like Kelly with the list, like, what's your physical, what's your mental, like your emotional, spiritual, all that stuff, dude, that makes me show up 100 times better. And I feel freaking good. And like, I'm changing. Like, and a lot of like the high level performers say like, be a walking billboard. Like that's what you need to become, is a walking billboard. Be interesting to people. Like, and two, like the thing that comes behind like the personal development stuff is like, you get to go in and like share new things with people, and like people can see you grow and change. Like it affects other people. And it gives them inspiration to be like, dude, this dude's changing. Or like, I see this dude doing this. Like you're going to make so much more money, but you're also going to impact so many more lives because you're the example. Like you're setting the standard for like what you want what do you want it to look like, or what you want your life to look like. And other people are going to see that because you're just going to be doing it.
Have you, before you've reached your millionaire or just onto that stage, have you been like dead broke before?
Yeah. I mean, I would say I've been in spots where I've stressed about money a lot and been like, dude, like, I don't know. Like even before I made like $100,000, I was like, dude, I was like, I don't know like what to do. Like I was stressing because like I was driving back and forth 45 minutes back and forth every single day. And like I was commission only at first, and it is still commission only. And I like was getting deals or like starting that. But at first I was like, dude, like, I don't know if I am a salesperson. I don't know if I have the skills. I don't know if I have what it actually takes to become like what I need to become in this industry. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, I was dead broke. I mean, I literally, when I was going down the wrong path, it was literally like my junior year and everything like that. I literally didn't ever go get a job until I actually started learning about real estate. And then my uncle was like, dude, like you got to start making some money if you want to like start buying properties, because I wasn't really like, I was just learning. I wasn't making money or actually talking to people. So yeah, I mean, I literally started off broke. Now my family and my parents, like I always had a good life and like didn't really go without. But from that perspective, like, dude, if I didn't like have those rock bottom moments and go what I went through, I don't even know who I would be right now, because I'm like, dude, I just was always handed everything in my life. I got whatever I wanted or asked for. So I never really went without. But when it was just me and it's my bank account and it's my money, yeah, like when I started and everything, or when I was 17, like I used to sell shoes and stuff. And like I had that hustle mentality of like, I wanted to make money. I was watching the guys on Instagram back then that had the Lambos and all that. I'm like, dude, I want that. I know I want that someday. And my dad was already successful and like was making 6 figures as an engineer. So like I had that inspiration, but for myself, I had nothing besides like my last name. So like, yeah, I was definitely, I didn't really have any money like at all when I started.
So what daily routines do you intake to operate on higher levels?
Yeah. So when I wake up in the morning, it's actually switched. I just recently like pivoted like my list, because I was like, dude, I don't think like some of these things I'm doing is aligning with it, or like at the time. So when I wake up in the morning, first thing I start with is gratitude, and like I read my Bible and I start taking notes on it. And like, that's been something that I've never done in my life. And I've recently been doing in the last couple of months of like reading the Bible and like actually being a believer. And so I'll start with gratitude in the morning. And then typically right after that, I do like to go work out like in the morning and start my day like that. That just fuels me like when I go into the office. Like if I can get that knocked out in the morning and all that stuff, like I'm feeling freaking on fire. And then, yeah, after that, I mean, I get into the office and, yeah, just start doing my thing. And like, we go through like good news and give like gratitude there and like daily quotes and stuff like that. So like, I just work on feeding my mind with like positivity in the morning, and also just being grateful. And that honestly just helps me tackle my day, just because I'm like, no matter what happens today, like I know when I woke up this morning and like what I fed my brain, like it's gratitude. And like, I feel really good about where I'm going. So for me, I just got very consistent with like doing the workouts, starting to read the Bible now, surrounding myself around personal development things, and just being around everybody at the office. Everybody there is pretty high level and like self-development and wanting to grow. So I'm literally around that all day. And that obviously helps a lot too.
So in 2024, you're projected to become a millionaire. So you've been going balls to the walls all of 2024. How do you avoid your burnout?
Yeah. We could turn this into like a story. So I don't know if you know or ever saw, but I left LTD like at the end of April, and I was there for 3 years. I was the first employee I left. And that's when I hit like another rock bottom moment where I'm like, I don't even know who I am. I have all this money. I'm making this money, but I don't know who I am. My relationships suck. Like nothing was going good. I wasn't reading the Bible. Like I was very successful. That's one thing that's kind of unique about my story is like, I just dominated at my job. And then from there, like I would still like work out and do the things, but like I didn't really start leveling up until KB came into like my life with like the company and then started giving us like the list. And then I've even gone through struggles with that too, where I'm like, some days like I didn't get my commitments and stuff. And like I was doing all of it to myself though. And then I just had that wake up moment like within the last 30, 45 days really now, where it's like, I need to freaking change in some of these other areas and stuff, because where I'm going and what I'm wanting to do for other people and inspire them, I can't just like be letting these things control me. So like the unique part about my story is like, I was just really good at my job, and all I was like literally focusing on at the beginning was sales training, like talking to people on the phone. Like, dude, I literally went like 1,000% into business. Like literally, like I was still knocking out some of the other areas of my life, but I literally just went into business and just dominated my job and was like, how do I become the best? Even though I didn't have some of the best like things going on outside personally, I could like turn it on. Like I can just turn it on, because I am a good kid and I was everything, but like there were demons and things I was battling behind the scenes, but I could show up and freaking do my job and skyrocket and freaking impact people's lives. It was just the personal side I struggled with. So for me, dude, like I was just feeding my mind with all the seminars and doing all the right stuff there, but I was still slacking with some personal stuff. And it's crazy how it kind of all happened, but I'm grateful to get to where I have now. But honestly, dude, like I literally just like poured everything into business. And I honestly did let the other areas of my life, like to answer that question truthfully, I did really let those other areas of life, they weren't really that important to me. And I just literally was like, make money, get really good at sales, like become the best acquisitions person I can and be better than anybody. And I wanted to become like the best acquisitions person that's around, or like Andrew is that sales guy. Like Andrew's the freaking tank. And that's what I want to be known for. And then again, now that I've gotten out there more and like I'm starting to show that more, now it's like, okay, like it's really time to change. And after battling some of these things for the last couple of years, you get to a spot where you're like, I'm just done. Like I'm done. I can't keep doing this. It's not sustainable. I can't have both.
What's one thing that KB said to you that stuck out the most?
I'm gonna look at my notes real quick, because I have so many good things that he said to me that I've like literally like just kept. But so this is a really good one. 3 signs of mediocrity. One is going to be compromise. So you said you were going to do this or be the person, start to cut corners, and you do it half-ass. So like I would compromise a lot, and that's mediocrity. Even though I was a high level person, there were things in my life I was compromising on. 2, no vision, no clarity of vision. And then 3, I'm good, contentment and being satisfied. That's where I started making a lot of money. I'm like, oh, I'm good, dude. Like, who cares? Like I'm good. I'm whatever. So those were 3 signs of mediocrity. After I heard those 3 things of what he was talking about and what they were, I'm like, I'm not that. Like deep down it hit me, and I'm like, I'm doing some of those things, but that's not me. And that was that woke me up so freaking hard. And that was literally August 27th, 2024, when he freaking said that in our meeting. And I wrote that down, and that's when like I really started like changing. And Kelly holds me accountable too in those areas of my life. Like Kelly holds me accountable every single night. I tell him how many days it's been. I tell him what I'm doing. I tell him how my day went. I send him a Bible verse every night. Kelly's been by my side from the whole time at LTD when we hired him to coach us. From the day I quit, me and him did not talk. Not a day. There was not a day that went by that we didn't talk. Every single day, he helped me actually really get back to where I'm at. And if it wasn't for Kelly, like I would have been a lot more lost. So Kelly said so many good things to me, but those are those are three things that like he was telling us about like being a mediocre type of person. And I know I'm not, but like there were things I was doing. So I was like, dude, I can't have both. Again, like I can't do both. So
you got a match of your higher potential. You can't go back to the lower side.
Yeah. And when I see other people that are already doing that and like
it pushes you.
Yeah. Even if they had addictions in the past and they're fighting them or not doing it. Like, and a lot of people in the company had some of their own things and they've all quit. And like that gave me inspiration too.
What would you say is like the number one thing that's holding everybody back from not becoming who they want to be?
Fear of like rejection, belief in themselves, self-sabotaging. Like even though I was like high level and in a high level environment and have been for years, I was self-sabotaging in a lot of other areas. I think social media, I think kids and people are like sucked in and lost to that stuff and like think that they're going to get the answer from there or just get like the thing. And two, a big thing is like everybody wants instant gratification. Like everybody's looking for that instant quick hit gratification. And I think that's a very scary place to be because you can miss out on a lot of opportunity if you're just looking for that.
So yeah, you got to do the work. Because one thing, I always say this all the time, like almost every podcast, Andrew Tate's big on like, people look up, oh, how to get a six pack easy. It's not supposed to be easy. No. If it's easy, everyone's going to have it and you're not going to appreciate it as much.
Yes, 100%. And like, that's what I'm really learning is like, same with the content, starting that even. Like as long as I just keep posting every single day and I look back after year after year after year, like after months, I'm like, dang, I posted every single day, Monday through Friday at least. And like, I'm seeing now everything, even as it's like, you got to stay consistent because there were times when I didn't have the belief of like, I can close deals and I'm a great salesperson or like, I can work for this company and actually be that guy. Like I had those same thoughts and feelings and it was actually holding me back versus like actually just kind of just going in and just being in a clean slate. Like I just want to be a student and learn and apply. So yeah, that's what I would say is like, those are things that really will hold people back.
So you've mentioned managing emotions as a challenge. How do you learn to control them, especially under pressure?
Yeah. For me, what I found is like going back to the Bible, like when I read the Bible and like I've been in Proverbs a lot recently, and I've watched videos on some other stuff and some of the other different type of like verses or like sections. But when I read the Bible, it's a lot different for me than other people, I think. But when I read every single verse or page or word, I just think it's God telling me his perspective and story of like what he went through. And he's given me the lessons that he learned or went along the way or the thoughts he had during these moments. So like before I thought I had to figure everything out and do everything, dude, I was so bad at managing my emotions. I would just get like pissed off and I would like be in this bad mood all day. And then I just started like, I wasn't closing deals. I was taking my emotions onto the phone and to like my friends and other people that I cared about. And it wasn't their fault or anything. I didn't know how to control that. So again, too, like that was during like when I had those addictions and stuff. So like I would just get triggered. And then like I didn't have that quick little hit or that fix real quick to just get me off of it. So then I had to like sit there and battle it. And like I would just go crazy. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like I would just get so freaking mad because like I just wanted to control everything. And that's been one thing that's really been helping me is like God and like spirituality and like the Bible is like putting my emotions or like these things that I think are like super huge onto somebody bigger than myself and like putting in somebody else's hands versus like being selfish and having an ego and being like, I got to do it all. And also be where my feet are at, like be where I'm at. And again, that's why I like starting off my mornings now with gratitude because it helps kind of just take any of that away.
Have you tried the challenge 75 hard?
No, I've not. And that's definitely a thing that like I need to do. And like, I want to put myself through because like that's just, it's a mental thing. And like, I think when you do more stuff like that, again, you just get to like this mental spot where like, you're literally unbreakable. And like, I'm now feeling that from like actually having the self-discipline to like quit these things and like stay true to my word. So like, I think 75 hard would be a game changer for me. And I've seen other people and I know other people that's done it. My uncle actually did it. Like when I was doing stuff with him, he's done it a couple of times. And I know a bunch of people that I'm around, people in our office has done it. I just haven't done it yet. And that's definitely a thing on my list for next year. to like commit to.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you're about to become a millionaire next Wednesday.
Yep.
What's your goals for 2025 or after you hit that $1 million?
Yeah, I haven't even really sat down and thought about that, but I have really been like putting things out on paper and stuff. One goal would just be to it would be awesome to hit like 5,000 followers on Instagram next year, or like get that higher. I had to restart my Instagram page. Like my old one got hacked. So I had to like restart everything pretty much. So that would be a goal, is like to hopefully reach 5,000 followers just from the content. I really want to do training next year for people and like really get into education, filming content for, people buying sales training or partnering with deals. So those are really big goals for me. I've really been thinking about this hard recently. I'm like, it's not really like a net worth goal anymore after that, because it's like, I'm 21, dude, I'm about to be a millionaire. And like, that's all. I only set goals ever so high, like for that. And now that I'm going to be hitting all of them like this quick, I really have been setting down. And like one thing on my list is like write down like once or twice a week, kind of like my vision or like my thoughts and like where I'm going. So it's not really like buying more rentals or trying to like scale for like to be like like all this other things. I'm like, I'm going to hit all that no matter what. Like I'm going to be a multimillionaire no matter what. I'm not trying to be a Grant Cardone or be like a billionaire or like be worth like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like I think it'd be cool to be worth like 50 million at some point in my life, or like 10 million. But even at that, it just goes back to like, where do I get my freedom back? And I've sacrificed a bunch to get to where I'm at now. So it's like, I want to buy back some of that time. And that's a book that I'm going to read like as soon as like the next year starts, is like Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. I really like Dan Martell, and I've been watching a lot more stuff of his stuff, and just basically like figuring out how can I buy back time in other areas, and how can I put in other areas where I'm impacting other people. And then other than just doing deals and making money there, how do I then open up the education again? How do I get the content? How do I get people coming into my pages, buying sales training? Or like, I want to be basically kind of like how like the Macklin twins are and stuff under Andy for LTD. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably keep buying properties and stuff like that. I might do a couple flips next year. Private money lending is a big thing for me. Like you can make a lot of money just being a private money lender. And that's really like, that's true mailbox money. If you're just private money lender, like that's honestly better than the rentals. You just don't get like the equity or like the net worth or like the tax benefits. So I'm literally writing down all these things, but it's a mixture between a ton of self-development. Like I really want to go all in on self-development next year, because it's like, okay, if I got to the point I did from 17 to 21 and became a millionaire and like done everything I did with having addiction, having these things, like kind of like learning how to figure it all out, and I haven't been as consistent in other areas that I want to be, like I can turn it on and just do it no matter what. And I just operate at a high level. So like I can do it no matter what, but like really just becoming a different level and finding a new identity in myself. And yeah, I really want to pour as much into self-development as I can, because I think that's what's actually going to take me to like other levels way quicker than like, all right, I'm going to buy more rentals and stuff so I can have a higher net worth. Like then it's like my network, my people. That's really the big thing. I want to tap into that.
It's kind of like back to that Jim Rohn quote, like if you work hard on yourself, you're going to have a fortune. But if you just work hard, you'll make a living.
Yep. 100%. So self-development is definitely going to be a big thing. I've already done a lot of self-development, but now that I've actually chose and decided some of these other things in my life that I've been working towards, it's like, now it's really time to go all in, now that I'll be on a fresh slate with like just not having these addictions or doing all these other things. And it's still going to be a battle, but it's like, how do I self-develop to just push through those levels where like that stuff doesn't even matter? Like I basically want to like erase my identity and like create a whole new one. Like Andy Elliott always says, is like create a new identity. Like next year is like, I want to completely 180, like who everybody knew me as last year and like what I accomplished, 180 that. And just, I want to freaking like scale and like basically like I want to get to that point where it's like, I already feel like I'm like starting to feel like a little bit of a trend. I want to like really max that out and become like an influencer in a way and like teach people while still doing deals and making money.
I think that's one thing a lot of people kind of get stuck up in their head is like, oh, people know me as this, I have to live this way, but you're not like entitled to that. You can change who you are like today, tomorrow, this minute, whenever.
Yep. 100%.
So you hold the power and the energy of your own life.
Yep. No question, dude.
So what's one sacrifice you made that hurt the most but paid off in ways you couldn't imagine?
Just like late nights, dude. So many late nights. Like throughout high school when I was still working with the company, like during high school, like, dude, like I basically would I'd leave school, get to the office at like 11 a.m. and I'd be there till like 8, 9 o'clock. Like there were nights I was coming home, I didn't say hi or like see my mom, didn't see my sister, didn't see like any of my family. I literally just put in hours, dude, on hours, like late nights, like getting home at 10, 11, midnight. Like I did whatever it took to figure out how do I just become like the best I can at this and like get the skill, learn the skill. And like also too, bro, like I wanted to produce and show like Dakota and like them, like I can work hard and like I'm gonna freaking do this and figure it out. Like I'm the one, and nothing was guaranteed. Like it was sink or swim. And I got put in that position where like I said, like my back was against the wall and I had the chip on my shoulder. I was like, I gotta do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter how I feel, doesn't matter like whatever. And like maybe that wasn't, I just put the most like worst case scenario thoughts in my head and like what ifs, where it was like, I don't want to have any of those what ifs or like, what if this could happen or that could happen. I wanted to be like, if I do this, it's gonna happen. If I do this here, there's a very good likely chance that like I'm gonna get it. And like it's all paid off. So like time, that's really where I'm like, I need to buy back my time in some of these areas. And like, you know, I missed out on a lot of family. I honestly, bro, like that's what I'm saying is like, I would work so late, I would just not work out. Like I just wanted to get really good at sales and become like this freaking tank. And I was in a position that no one else was. Like, again, I had just turned 18 fresh, still had a whole senior year of high school left. I'm like, bro, I'm already like making money that like my junior summer, I was already making money going into my senior year. And I'm like, bro, no one's doing what I'm doing. So like, I sacrificed a lot of areas. Like, again, I sacrificed my spiritual, I sacrificed my relationships, I sacrificed my physical. I sacrificed a lot of those things, dude, to have everything I've had now and built.
What would you say is like the vision for LTD Properties?
Yeah. The vision, I know Dakota's still working through that, but like, I know we want to kind of have it to be a thing where like basically what Dakota says to all of us is he wants us to be able to become financially free. Like basically everything that I'm doing right now in my life, he wants for everybody else in the company. Like he wants people in the company, like we're like allowed to, like he wants them to buy rentals or buy properties and like do all these other things. So like they can set their lives up and their families and their kids and whatever for like the best future possible. So like the vision that he's like, vision is in like where the company's going. Like that could be so many different things. And like, it's a lot of great big things that are coming up now that we got the new office. And I know he's still, you know, driving that and navigating that. But for what he wants for all of us is just to be able to live the lives we want and be able to, if we need to go to our kids' event or do this or do that, like they can. If we need to, you know, spend time with family or do this, or somebody's going to be in the hot, like whatever it might be, someone random pop up or like where we can actually fit presently and physically like be there and not be stressing about like, oh, I need to make money. Oh crap, I need to make these calls. I need to work. I need to get my hours in. Like none of that. He just basically wants us to be able to set our life up where like we can really have the freedom we want and live the lives we want, whatever that looks like for everybody else in there. But for me, yeah, it's just, yeah, travel more, have a good loving relationship. That's something that I'm wanting to work on next and like focus on more and just really like start figuring out some of these other areas. Cause like I can do whatever I want. I'd say now, like I'm not to where I want to be. I'm never going to be satisfied. Like, I don't think I'll ever stop, but yeah, he wants the best for all of us and wants us to be able to become financially free, like through LTD. Like that's the opportunity he's really created for everybody there.
See, back to like always grateful but never satisfied. That's a huge quote that TJ and his brokerage use. It's like always grateful but you're never satisfied. Yeah. You're not satisfied where you are at, but you're grateful for what you have.
Yep, dude. I always see him posting that. I'm like, dude, that's so freaking good because like I've honestly never really just like it's hard for me to appreciate things, and that's why I've been like doing the gratitude because like, dude, like after you start getting 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 sometimes like 1,000 checks. Like you just become numb to it. Like I'd get $10,000 checks or $15,000 checks or $5,000 or $4,000 checks. And then after so long, it's just like deposit. Like I didn't feel anything anymore. I just was like, oh, it's just, you know, money from the deals I closed, or like, I just got used to it. So like, I didn't feel anything. And I literally had a conversation with Dakota about that. I was like, dude, it feels weird. Like making this money or like already hitting this number, like this quick at the beginning of the year. And like, how do I actually start appreciating it? So like, it's just weird. Like it's a weird phase to like go through and like experience. But again, you have to constantly keep finding that next thing that aligns with like your purpose and like where you're going, which goes back to the vision.
Absolutely. What's one thing you used to chase, but now you realize it was a distraction from true success?
Women.
100%.
Yeah, women. Literally just chasing women, like thinking because I had a lot of money, it was going to get women. Like, woman is the biggest distraction ever. And I like wasted so much time there of like, because like I did have really good intentions and like I was becoming successful and I was like this high level person at like 17, 18, 19 years old, so in high school. And like, yeah, like I was so distracted always trying to find that and like a girl of like, how can I find a girl like me? Or like I would get with women and then like I was just like, dude, I could be making money right now. Like it was like literally like that. Like I'm sitting here freaking like doing nothing, or like we're just sitting on the couch freaking watching Netflix, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like I was like, I'm 18. Like what am I doing? Like I need to be maximizing my potential and like making money and like doing all this stuff. It was hard for me to be present in times like that, or if I tried getting into relationships when I got early started in the business. But woman, and obviously like woman, and then like the like drugs and stuff like that. Like those are definitely, those are two big distractions. But the women do, like I literally like, I always was just trying to chase and like, you know, show them what I had and what I can do for them. Like I basically wanted to like be that like man, or like that masculine man where it's like, I can literally change your life. And then like I want to get appreciated from it. Sometimes they're like, they'd go to, and I'm like, what is going on? But like I just realized too, like I had a growth mindset and a different type of mindset, and like they didn't have like vision or dreams or like anything that I wanted. So I was like trying to find somebody that was like in business and stuff like that had like that thing. And I just kept chasing like the wrong type of woman, like college girls. Like no, dude. Like I like screwed so many times, like over like different things like that, when I'm like trying to put my heart out there, be a good person, like be young and actually like be like sound like a man and like be a man, and like I'm turning into this man while I'm young. Like I just realized like these girls don't care about it. They just want to party and like do all the stuff with the guys, and like they just want to, like I'm like, dude, that just doesn't align with me. And like, dude, I did do stuff like that. I was literally one time with one of my buddies at a frat party. And this was, again, I'd made money, I'd done all this stuff. I'm in the room and I'm like, no, but I'm the wealthiest person in this room and have the most money, but no one knows and no one freaking cares. And that was a big wake up moment for me where I'm like, stop. Like, you're better than this. Like, stop putting yourself in these things just to try to get that quick hit or get like, oh, that girl or whatever it might be. That's all I was chasing, was just women, and wanted to do all the stuff. And it just led me to, again, down to like rock bottom. And yeah, just like I finally made decisions based off that. But yeah, those were two big things. Women and like the drugs were like really big distractions for me. And it took me a while to actually just be okay with like being alone, like be okay with like working on yourself. And like I wasn't even the person I wanted to be, that I would want to be for like a relationship if I even would have found it. And I didn't even know that. I was literally just trying to get that instant gratification.
So this is probably gonna get a lot of hate, but there's a quote out there that goes like, men age like wine, but women age like milk. And it's kind of like, because when you're a guy, you have to build your value up. And then there's also somebody else like Justin Waller. He's huge on like, don't get a girlfriend. You need to focus on yourself, keep building yourself, keep building your empire. And then it'll come to you. Yep.
And that's really like what I've been focusing on like months ago, was just building myself, like becoming a new version of myself, like posting the content and really changing, like actually change. Because Dakota said a quote one morning and it freaking woke me up. And that's when I made the decision. It was really like, this was like a month ago. He's like, what you are not changing, you're choosing. And I'm like, and he's like, repeat again. He's like, what you're not changing, you're choosing. And I'm like, holy freaking cow, dude. Like, that is so big. And that like related with like all these other things. Like I'm choosing to vape. I'm choosing to do these things. And like, I'm not changing. So like, if I want different, I have to choose different to change. Absolutely. And like, bro, that also set me apart. That just hit me. And I'm like, dude, I thought about it all day and it never got off my mind. And I just kept it on my note and I put it at my background. And it's literally every day, like, what you're not changing, you're choosing. What you're not changing, you're choosing. And I'm like, every freaking day. And I try to inspire that with other people too, and like give that type of influence of like, what you're not changing, you're choosing. You're going to get the same results. And Andy Elliott's really big on that too. And he says that all the time. And I'm like, it literally, that's the answer. Like, that's the answer. People would just like really sit down deep and like actually like put some thought and like real energy into it and like put a focus of like, all right, like, what areas of my life am I choosing things that like I'm not actually being able to change from? Or if I could change this and have different, like what would that do for my life? So Yeah, that was freaking huge.
When you say that you're going all in, what does that look like to you?
Going all in, just like I had a quote in my bio, Grant Cardone, it was success is my duty. And every single day I'm like, success is my duty. Like just going out there, dominating, becoming somebody, like influencing people, helping people, making a lot of money, impacting lives. Like that's what that quote literally made me feel like. And then I kind of switched it to now in my mind of just kind of how I think and stuff, and like how I show up with how I work, with how I operate my life is like elite over average. Like elite over average 24/7. And when I put that in my bio at first, I was like, okay, there's some spots in my life I'm still being a little average. And then I switched and I changed. And then now I'm like elite over freaking average, dude. And like I'm seeing me choosing the elite routes or like the things that would make me elite versus average. And I'm seeing the change it's making in my life. And I'm like, I'm going to choose that every single time. Even if I have a temptation or anything like that, it's like, again, what's the goal? What's the vision? Where am I going? And I just remind myself of that every single time. So like, I just go all in, dude. I operate at a very high level. The way my mind and brain thinks, like I can just spit stuff out. I can go different directions with conversations. I could be talking to somebody and then they're buying something from me like 10 minutes later. Like I just can influence people and get them to do something because I believe in it so much. And that's why I do really well in this industry. And like with what I've done is I believe in it so much. And I believe in the company so much. I've literally, when I came back to the company, I decided that day when I met with Dakota and all of them, when I was coming back, like I'm all in. I don't want to do it alone. I don't care if I can make more money. I don't care what it is. I want to be around people and I want to build something. And Kelly's always like, build something. Like, what are you building? And I'm like, yeah, like I know what I want to build and I've been building it, but now it's time to freaking like just keep cranking the knot.
Burn all the boats.
Yep. So it's just all gas, no brakes, like going all in. Like I said, like in February, I put that thing in there, all gas, no brakes. Like it kind of goes back. Like I used to dirt bike race and stuff. And my dad, like just go out there and crush. It was a single sport. I was state champion. Like I was number one. I was really freaking good at it. Dude, that's always how I lived. And like, even with everything. And like, I was always kind of like a popular kid and stuff throughout high school. And like my family was really known and stuff like that. So like, I kind of had some pressure in a way to live up to that. And like, kind of like just go all in with everything. That's my bad.
Oh, I like that a lot. So what's the one piece of advice that you wish you would have known sooner before you got started?
One piece of advice I knew sooner. Have the hard conversations.
You know, what's funny is me and TJ, we were just talking about that yesterday. There's so many people out there that don't want to have the hard conversations.
Yeah.
I think KB was telling him it's not a hard conversation. You just don't want to have it.
Yep. There were some moments last year at our work I had to go have those hard conversations. Bailey had to push me to go have some of those hard conversations with some like interns and people that we had hired. And yeah, I mean, it built way better connection and like bonding and everything after I went and had those hard conversations. But like, dude, I always shied away from those. I love tackling the hard conversations now because I'm like, dude, that's like,
it builds you.
Yeah, it builds you and it's authentic and it's real. And like, at least it's off your chest now and you went and said what you need to do. And then it's in that other person's like place to choose what they want to do with it, but at least you delivered it and like went
over average.
Yes. And that goes back to that elite over average, having the hard conversations, like the things you don't want to do. And like, I'm still working through this and like, it's something on my mind, but like the things that I don't want to do are actually going to get me like to where I want to go. And they're going to like make me show up completely different to everybody. So like the hard conversations, dude, if I would have just went like a long time ago before I knew like kind of like Bailey kind of installed to like ask for what you want, like ask for what you want, ask for the close, ask for the sell, ask if they'll go lower on price. Like people are afraid to do that stuff. So that's how I treat people. That's how I do everything. And like, I'll tell people straight up. And like, again, it's not like, oh, like you're this or you're that. It's like, hey, here's what I feel these ways. So like the hard conversations, I wish I would have knew how to do those a lot sooner with just people.
So what would you say to someone who's scared to leave behind comfort to seek for their ambition?
Yeah. If you're scared to be uncomfortable and get out of that comfort zone, like you're never going to get what you want. You're never actually going to be able to change. You're going to keep probably going through the same emotional, mental, like breakthroughs and like struggles you're having. And you're going to just get content and stay in the same spot. And then you're just going to get to a point where you can't actually like go do anything because you just literally like let this comfortness drown you. And everybody that's out there that's accomplished something or achieved something and became successful, they had to get uncomfortable. But it's like, all right, if I do this, like yeah, I might have to go through some uncomfort, but behind that uncomfortableness builds vulnerability, character, trust, authenticity, ethics, vulnerability. It builds a lot of things. Like the being uncomfortable and stuff, it feels very weird. And like, dude, I snowboarded like at the beginning of the year, first time, it was so uncomfortable. I was like, dude, I'm freaking like nervous and stuff. But like, as I just kept practicing, fell down so many more times, I started getting used to it. And I'm like, okay, like I got it. I wasn't still good at it, but like I got uncomfortable and I learned something. So like every single time, like you get like you get out of that comfort zone, like when you get into an uncomfortable situation or whatever, like you're growing and getting better in that moment. Like when you feel that anxiousness, that nervousness, whatever it might be, like you're literally this close to the other side of like getting what that is. So comfort, like I don't like being comfortable. Like comfort actually stresses me out. Like if it, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like people probably feel that when they're in that comfortable state, like they feel stressed or like they're like in their mind, they're like, crap, I saw this guy that's doing this. Like I need to step up, or they know deep down what they need to do. And like, until you get uncomfortable and actually make a decision and a choice, you won't get to go through that breakthrough of what you need to like become next level. And like that, you could impact somebody's life from just doing something uncomfortable and getting out of your comfort zone. Like, dude, I used to not like, I was the shyest person ever. I wouldn't talk to anybody. Like I was just very like shy kid, socially awkward, introvert. And that all changed now. Like I'm the biggest introvert ever. I love like whatever, but dude, like I love talking to people and helping people now.
Yeah.
And I found purpose in that.
I say it's definitely going to change the whole entire industry of everything. Like if you can talk in front of a camera, if you can talk to anybody, if you're active on social media, you're going to take over the whole entire new business, because everybody's glued to their phones. Nobody can have a hard conversation. Nobody knows how to talk to anybody or just have conversations.
Oh, everybody's out there. Like even when you're in the gym, bro, like think about everybody that's just down on their phone, headphones in, and like no one does really like anything and like talks. Like they're just so sunken into it. And like I used to kind of be that way too. I just sat there on it, but I'm like, bro, if I just come in here and work hard and get it done, I can look at the phone anytime.
Yeah, the phone's
like,
always there.
And that's the thing too. I don't know if you've ever felt this or anything like that, but like when you're just away from your phone and don't have it or anything, and like you're freaking
something switches.
Yeah, like something switches, and then also freaking like you just feel like you're just in the world, like you're disconnected from this. But when you're doing the workouts and stuff like that, bro, like there's been times I'm like, damn, this is really hard. Like no one's watching, no one sees it, but like it's actually what matters. Like I can post later, I can make content, I can do these things, but like these are building me up to show up for that, to give my all. And that's the thing, is like anything that I decide to get into, that's why I waited with the content and stuff for a while and like certain other things, because I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm going all in. Like I'm not gonna half-ass it, I'm not gonna do any of that. Like I'm gonna make sure it's the best, or I'm showing up and like actually doing it how I want. I'm not just gonna post content and again, not have the right habits outside of it. Not being true to what I'm doing out there.
What's the harshest criticism that you received that you used for fuel to get better?
Sounds kind of cutthroat, but I Dakota actually said it, and it wasn't anything in like a oh, like you're not great, you're not whatever. But got to a point where my ego got so big, I just thought nobody was whatever. And he's like, dude, like you're like you're high level and all this stuff, and like because he got to help teach me a lot of like the things that and struggles I had to go throughout sales and stuff, because he'd already been through it, so I got to learn a lot quicker. But like I guess just knowing that like you're replaceable, like you can be replaced.
Yeah.
Like I never thought I could be replaced, and like I can't just be replaced like that. Like it's very hard to replace somebody like me. But that was just a wake up thing for me to kind of like let my ego down and be like, I just got to keep showing up, get better, do the things, like make it where I can't be replaced. Like I could be, but like it's gonna be very hard to find. And that's what I'm saying is like I perform at such a high level, all these other things, but just kind of like that was a harsh thing that I kind of like had to come to the realization of just like, because like I didn't just work at a normal job where anybody could just come in and get a job and people that I knew or whatever could just come work for the company. Like it was just me, and I was the only sales guy for like a year and a half. So like I was like, when I heard that and different things like that or other things like that, he's like, because he would like always tell us like, dude, like if you guys want to leave or whatever, like whenever, if it doesn't align with like whatever, no. And I used to kind of have like some ego behind that and was kind of like, dude, like I can't be freaking replaced or like anything like that. And then when I left, like the company's at a point in the brand and the reputation, like they're going to be fine no matter whoever's there. But it's like, how do I become more valuable? Or then it's harder for me to get replaced. So that's really what I work on and focus on daily, is just like, how can I just become an insane high level performer, just like this unique type of person where, like, yes, that can happen, but it's a lot harder for that to happen. That was a good thing for me, because it taught me a lot of lessons in other areas of life too, and how to show up, I guess, in LTD and with everybody there. And it made me more humble.
How'd you like get into the right crowd? Like, how'd you meet those people?
Yeah. So, I don't know if you ever heard of it or heard of any of us talk it, but it's called PSI Basic Seminar. I don't know if you know anybody that's gone to, but basically it was a self-development seminar. It's a 3-day thing. It takes you back to like your childhood, like maybe like programming, limiting beliefs, different like ways you operate during your life based off of like your childhood. And I didn't realize how much trauma I had, actually. Like, I numbed it with all those other things. So I didn't really actually ever face the trauma I had. And I knew Tony and Dakota were bringing it. So when I was learning about real estate and doing all that at the beginning, Tony knew my uncle and all that stuff. My uncle was doing deals and stuff and had them come speak at a thing before. And Tony was on the phone with him one night. And he's like, yeah, it's this thing. Like, you got to get him up there. No. And it was like $500 or $800. I can't remember what it was. But basically, like, he bought the ticket for me to go up there because he's like, dude, like, this will be really good for you guys. Like, if I had this at my age, like, dude, I'd freaking whatever. But he believed in it and trusted like Tony and Dakota. So he paid for us to go. And I'd never met Tony and Dakota in person. But I got there and like, there were so many, like, I didn't know at that time, but I knew these people are different. Like, the way they show up, the way they like are treating me, the way like the interactions are, like, everything was different. And I knew everybody in there, like, based off what it was. I was like, okay, these people all are going through something. And then it made me like be like, okay, it's okay that I'm going through something. And it allowed me to get vulnerable. But that's really how I started getting around the right people, was like, my uncle was already doing like the right thing. So he was kind of a mentor for me at the beginning, because I was in high school. I didn't have any mentors or anything like it besides what I saw on social media, but it wasn't like somebody close actually pouring something into me. So he really helped me become mature and stuff throughout high school, and like start like getting me into that different mindset than like all the other kids and people that were my age. And once I got up to the PSI seminar, then I like got to be vulnerable. I was seeing other people that were doing different things. I mean, I saw Tony and Dakota. I was like, dude, these guys are crushing it. Like, I saw everything they were doing on Facebook. And I realized at the end of that, everybody there was like wanting to get better. They had some maybe sort of business. Maybe they were working a normal job, but wanted to get into everything. So it was all like, all right, these people are all in that mindset of wanting to get better and wanting to grow. And I can relate to all of them, and there's no judgment. Like, I can be open, and like, they're not going to judge me for like what I'm going through. So that was like those two things, like getting mentored by my uncle and then going up to the PSI basic seminar, that kind of like led and like put my foot in the door to like start getting around high level people and get around like the right groups. And then literally the day like I left that, the last day, I had broken my foot too. Like, I was in the factory, so I had broke my foot and stuff. So I was up there on crutches. I get back to home that night, and I'm like just sitting in my bed, like looking at all my notes I took and everything like that, and just really like reflecting on everything. And I'm like, dude, I was like just around all these high level people, and like I'd never experienced anything like that. And I'm like, dude, like I literally, right when I left, I was like, I don't want to get away from those people. Like, I just want to be around them. And I go into work the next day at like 4 a.m. in the factory, obviously. And I'm like, I was so depressed, dude. I'm like, dude, I was just around all these high level people, like people that like aren't just negative, like they believe in something, like they want to grow, they want to be better. And I'm like, dude, I'm around all these people chain smoking cigarettes all day, doing like drugs in the factory. Like, I'm on a broken foot. I'm sitting here all day. I'm like not actually becoming something or building anything with my life. Again, I was still in that meantime, like learning about real estate from my uncle and everything, but it started like dying down a little bit as much. And I was like, started doing more things on like my own kind and watching videos and already taking what he had taught me and just like everything. And then literally after 2 weeks from that, like that's when Dakota called me out of the blue. And I started working with them. Yeah. So yeah, dude, like that's really where it started. And I was like, how do I just get around successful people?
Before we get off here, what's one piece of advice that you'd give to people watching this for them to just getting started into their business? What would you say to them?
Yeah. So just getting started and like just getting in the business world.
Just about to put their shoes on and find their career, find who they are.
I would say like if you're already like if you already are wanting to get into like this type of space, you're, getting your shoes on, doing all that stuff to, start getting into it, or you have like desire behind it. Advice I would give is just like be real and be authentic with where you're at, and let people know that you want to learn. Like show people that you actually want it, and like be real with people and be authentic. And like I think when you're getting into a space like this, like you truly need to like find yourself and have a good idea of like, okay, here's where I'm at in my life and here's where I want to go. What does that require? And like start thinking about those things and like the ideas that are coming to your head and the thoughts. Because if you do something with those thoughts and like take action, it's more likely and it's probably going to happen a lot quicker versus you just going and figuring out by yourself. Like it's very hard for somebody to just do it by themselves. Like anything I've learned or where I've gotten to, I've went and asked, or I've like spent money to like get it, or like put myself in the room. So like for me, I think you just got to invest into yourself first. Like any amount of money you have, like put it into yourself and put it into like the things that you want to like feel, know, be around, experience. And then from there, like you start getting that like like the fruit on the tree. You start getting like that type of effect of like where the fruits start falling and things start happening and things start changing. And then just stay consistent with that going forward, and always don't be afraid to ask people. Like, dude, I ask people stuff all the time still, and like I've achieved a lot. And like, yeah, I'm always like looking for that other person and looking for that next person that can help me get to where I want to go, and be real with them and true with them about what I want and do the work.
Absolutely. Andrew, thanks for joining me on
Yeah,
Mission
dude.
Blueprint.
Yeah, dude. It was awesome.